Hey guys, Miss Stan's here. So we're going to go over problems from Lesson 7 and Lesson 8. If you have any questions, please make sure you ask them in class. Lesson 7, we did the do now together. So if you are absent, you can pause and get this stuff down. But we wrote systems of equations and graphed them, and a system of inequalities and graphed it. There are many answers for number 8 because you just have to pick any kind of point in that solution set. For homework, we had page 32, number 1. The sum of two numbers is 3. The larger number is 5 more than a smaller number. So I'll write some let statements. Remember, it doesn't matter what you choose, so I'm going to let x be, I guess, the smaller number. And y is the larger. The sum of the numbers, x plus y, is 3, and the larger number, which is y, is 5 more than, meaning I'm adding 5 onto something, it's 5 more than the smaller number. And it asks us to solve graphically. I could find the numbers by doing substitution. Right, it looks like I can take this x plus 5 and substitute it into y, and I get the answers really quickly. But it really says solve graphically, so I guess I'm going to have to do that. I'm just creating an x and a y axis, creating it in the middle because, I don't know, these numbers could be positive or negative. I'm not sure what they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just getting this second equation, right? The slope is 1 and the y-intercept is 5. So I could go up 1 over 1 or this way. Hopefully this fits on the graph. I'm actually not sure if it will or not until I graph the other one. This, I like to do my intercepts. So it crosses at 3 and 3. The slope is really a negative 1. And if I continue in that same path, I do find the solution right here on my graph. So that makes me happy. The solution is the point negative 1 comma 4. So the numbers are, or the smaller number is negative 1, the larger number is 4. Next, we had to do number 4 on page 33. So this reminds me of even the do now, or of questions we did yesterday. A club is selling hats and jackets. Sounds like two different items. I'm already thinking standard form. They have to stay within a budget of 900. That is a total. If they're staying within that budget, it means whatever they spend has to be less than or equal to 900. I'm going to remind myself this is about money. And they can order up to 200 items. So that's the number of items. Up to 200 means less than or equal to 200. And they must buy at least as many hats as they buy jackets. At least as many hats as jackets. So if did they tell me what to let anything be? Each hat. So I'm going to let x equal number of hats and y is the number of jackets. There's actually a third equation here. When they say they must buy at least as many hats as they buy jackets, must buy at least as many hats as they buy jackets. It means they could be equal or the hats can be more, at least as many hats. So we could have some more hats than we do jackets. Each hat is $3, so that's money. $3 for a hat, $4 for a jacket. Total items, x plus y. And Now I have to graph this. So this is the parent graph. It's like the diagonal line that goes up 1 over 1. The second equation has intercepts at 200, so I'm definitely going to have to pick a scale that can get to 200. And then the first one, I'm going to solve it for y. So I'll subtract 3x from both sides, which gets me 4y is less than or equal to negative 3x plus 900, and then I'll divide by 4. So y is less than or equal to negative 3/4 x plus 225. So I'd like to see 225. So I'm going to think of a scale. So I've decided I'm going to go by 20s. 20, 40, 60, 80. That'll be 100. 20, 40, 60, 80, 200. And 20, 40, 60, 80, 300. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. 20, 40, 60, 80, 200. 20, 40, 60, 80. You know what? I changed my mind. I think I want to go by 25s. I don't care. 20, 40, 60, 80. I'll just leave it. 25s might have been better since this crosses at 225. But we'll deal with how it is. So this middle one, the x plus y is less than or equal to 200. I know it crosses at 200 in both spots. I know it's a solid line. And I know we shade down. The other one that's pretty easy to graph is the last one, where x is greater than or equal to y. It means I can plot all the points where x equals y. So since my scales go the same, like this is 20, 20, 40, 40, and so on. So I can graph this. And I guess I'll finish my video later. So all I have to do is connect this with a solid line. And this will go on forever, so I will put an arrow. And look at this. Y is less than, right? If I were to swap this around, it would say y is less than or equal to x. So I do have to shade down. Let me start labeling my lines as well. I think the hardest line to graph is this 3x plus 4y is less than or equal to 900. I changed it into standard form, so I'm going to enter it into my calculator and plot some points. So remember, you go to your y equals, got to clear out anything that's there. And I forgot what my equation was. Negative 3/4 x plus 225. Negative 3/4 x plus 225. Negative 3/4 x plus 225. Notice instead of 3/4 I did 0.75. It was just easier. And I'm going to go look at my table. And I'm going to record some points to plot. So of course I'm going to plot 0, 225. I knew that was the y-intercept. I'm going to see if, I'm going to plot that one. So start writing these down. And then write down as many nice points as you can. and then you can plot those. 0 to 25. Of course, these are all estimates. 222. The 4 is too hard. I'm going to scroll to something a little bit easier. You know what I can do? I could see where it's going to hit the x-axis. Let's see where that's at. I'm scrolling all the way down. I'm waiting and waiting and waiting to get there. So when you scroll all the way down in your table on your calculator, you can see that it hits at 300, 0. So if I plot a point there and then connect these two, I wish I had a straight edge, of course. Use a straight edge, please. And y is less than, so I shade down. Trying to find the overlap. So I was lucky I got 3 different colors. I see red, green, and blue in this section over here. Right around here is my solution set. So if the club buys 150, right about here, and 100 right there, will the conditions be satisfied? And the answer is no. It's not in a shaded region.
The library will be closed after school today.
Or not in a solution set.
The discussion club has a mandatory meeting today after school. If you plan to be at the book...
So before I do any more problems, I just want to show you the answers to like everything. This way you know which ones you need to fast forward through. So this was the do now. Here is number 1 and 2 of lesson 7. Here you go on 3 and 4, 5 and 6. Here's 7 and 8. Of course, you didn't have to do every question, but I'm just showing you all the answers. On lesson 8, these are the answers. So you could see 1, 2, and 3. And this crazy day of playing music, hope you like the background music. Here's 4 and 5. Here's 6. Bum, bum, bum. Here's number 7. There's 9, 10, 11, and 12. It's always so great when you're trying to make a video and there's interruptions. But I'm on page 34, number 6. And they have the inequality. We have to write, they have it graphed. We have to write the inequality. So it's important to notice the y-intercept. When nothing is labeled, we assume the scale goes by 1. So the y-intercept is -1. And the slope is 2 over 1. And it's shading up. So to shade up, it needs to be greater than. Since it's solid, it's equal to. Like the song, but bit of a problem when you make a video. So here we go. So that's the inequality. And now they're asking us to graph this inequality on the same set of axes. So I do have to get y by itself. So I can subtract x from both sides. I can divide both sides by a -4. Oh no, I'm dividing by a negative, dividing by a negative. Don't forget, you have to turn the inequality sign around. So I'm going to do that right now. And this will be a positive 1/4 x plus 4. You have to be careful when you're graphing this, especially your shading. If you put y on the left side, it would say y is less than 1/4 x plus 4. So be real careful of that for your shading. I'll start at 4, and I'll go up 1, right 4. Or the other way. And it's a dashed line. And it's shaded down. And this is my solution set. And Mark thinks that 4, 5 is a solution. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's this point that's on the solid and the dashed line, and Mark is wrong. He's wrong because you have to pick a point in a double shaded region, and anything on a dashed line is not a solution. So now I'm on page 37, number 4. The sum of two numbers is 900. So I need two numbers. If you continue reading, it says when the larger is added to the smaller. So I'm just going to randomly choose. I'm going to let x equal the larger number and y is the smaller. This is a total, and the sum is x plus y. The sum of two numbers is 900. It's an equal sign. And then remember, with our percentages, we have to change them to decimals. So 4% of the larger is really 0.04, and I called x my larger, is added to 7%, 0.07 of the smaller. The sum is 48. We have to find those numbers. You could do this by either substitution or elimination. I'm going to subtract x from both sides and do substitution.
Good afternoon, all of our children in the hall unsupervised. This is your reminder. You may not be unsupervised in the halls.
Are you unsupervised?
Make your way to whatever club or activity you have remained behind to attend. Extra help, sports, whatever the case may be. But if you're in the halls unsupervised, now is your time to exit the building.
Exit now.
Move yourself to said supervised area. Thank you and have a wonderful afternoon.
If I distribute, I get negative 0.07x plus whatever 900 times 0.07 is, 63. I'm going to subtract 63 from both sides. 48 minus 63 is negative 15. And I'm also going to combine these. So I get negative 0.03x equals negative 15. Divide both sides by negative 0.03 and 500. The sum of two numbers is 900, so 500 plus 400 make 900. So the larger one must be the 500, and the smaller one must be the 400. And those are my two numbers. We also had to do number 5. Number 5, this is a Regents question. When I say it's a Regents question, it came directly from a Regents exam. So a school spends $3 per box of pencils, $5 per box of markers. Pat knows that the school spent $250 on pencils and markers on Wednesday. I actually think it might not be an exact question. I think I might have changed maybe some of the numbers or words, but it came from a Regents question. We have to write an equation and represent the possible number of boxes and of pencils and boxes of markers that could have been bought for the school on Wednesday. Write an equation. A school spends $3 per box of pencils, $5 per box of marker, Pat knows school. So my total is $250. It's money, so I need money over here. If I do $3 times X and $5 times Y, I guess I just let my X equal the boxes of pencils and my Y equal the boxes of markers. And there's my equation. So Pat said that there might have been 40 boxes of pencils and 30 boxes of markers bought for the school on Wednesday. Are Pat's numbers possible? So if Pat's numbers are possible, it means when I plug it into X and Y, it should work. So let me just try that. So if 40 is for the boxes of pencils and X is my pencils, this is where I'll put the 40. And I'll put the 30 here. And I'm checking to see if I get $250. So 120 plus 150 is 270, which doesn't equal 250, so it's not possible. It says use your equation to justify your answer. I did use my equation to justify my answer. Later, Pat found a record showing that there were another total of 70 boxes. Ooh, so I'm getting like another equation. There were 70 boxes of pencils and markers together. So that would be my X plus Y equals 70. Why don't I use this equation with the one that I wrote before? And figure out really how many boxes there were. So I'm going to do this by elimination. I'm going to multiply the top by a -3. So I get -3x minus 3y equals -210. And this is a 3x plus 5y equals 250. So 2y equals 40. So y equals 20. Y is the boxes of markers. There are 20 boxes of markers. If there's 70 boxes in all, I could just do like 70 minus 20, right? Or I could have plugged it into the equation. I could have written x plus 20 equals 70, subtract 20, x equals 50. So there are 50 boxes of pencils. Really, there was a question like this. Some students didn't realize that it was like a system of equations because they had the different parts, right? They had like this that I could call part A, where you had to write an equation, and then you had to check if your equation worked with certain numbers. And then when they got to this third part that I'll call part C, they wrote the equation x plus y equals 70, but they didn't realize they should have used the equation from part A also. Remember, all these parts probably have something to do with one another. So think like that when you're doing Regents exam questions. Finally, our last question. So one number is 15 more than another. The sum of twice the larger and 3 times the smaller is 182. Find the numbers. All right, so I'll let x equal, I don't know, the larger, and y is the smaller. One number is 15 more than another. So the larger one has to be bigger, right? So the larger number is 15 more than the smaller number, right? If I take the smaller number and add on 15, that's how I get the larger number. So some people don't realize how to write your first equation from this first sentence. The sum of twice the larger, so twice the larger is getting added to 3 times the smaller, and that sum is 182. Find the numbers. I would definitely do this one by substitution because in my top equation I have x alone. Now, if you already did this without watching the video and you let x be the smaller and y be the larger, your equations would have your variables in different spots, but in the end you would get the same exact answer as I would, as long as you're doing all of your math correct. Coming over here, I'm going to combine and get 5y equals 152. So using my calculator, y equals 30.4. And then I'll substitute this into that equation. X equals 30.4 plus 15, which means x equals 45.4. So the larger is 45.4, while the smaller is 30.4. So I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you tomorrow. Please come with any questions. See ya.